Hi, Scorpio, Sun and Rising. Welcome to your April 2024 Astro Update. It's Raina here, and wow, this is going to be a very eventful month. Um, Possibly, I mean, it's on paper that way. If it impacts your life in a big way, then it would make sense. Let's put it that way. Um, and this is for two main reasons. We're going to have an eclipse in Aries, and that's going to hit your work sector. And we're also going to have a conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, which is your opposite sign. So these will affect the sixth and seventh houses respectively, but you have to consult your own personal chart because it will vary from person to person. Not everybody has the same chart, and therefore, even if you're born under the same sign or you have the same rising sign as someone else, you can have totally different timing situations with these transits. Sometimes when I'm doing private readings, I do a chart that is kind of similar to mine. It may be from a different decade. It might be a completely different sun sign, but the natal chart is set up in a certain way that I say, oh, wow, we're having some of these same transits at the same time, but they're still going to impact us differently because of the other planets that are in the chart and so on and so forth. But anyway, on the first of the month, Mercury goes retrograde at 27 degrees of Aries. I don't know if April Fool's Day is across the world or just in the United States or also in the UK, but it's one of those days that I always get a kick out of because there's usually some kind of thing that somebody lies about that's in a prominent position, and I fall for it 9 times out of 10, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, it's April Fool's Day. Well, this is a Mercury retrograde, so the cosmos may be having a joke on our expense. But this is in that sixth house, so Mercury could be communication breakdown, negotiation breakdown, I should say. So if there maybe it's the initiation of negotiations where I actually think it's more likely that you are rethinking things because let me give you an example. Let's say you ask your employer for a raise, because the sixth house can be your workplace, it can be your coworkers, it can be the whole shebang and the work that you're doing. And let's say that they have this whole rigmarole to try to, like it's a big production number just to even for them to consider giving you a raise. You might start thinking about and say, it shouldn't be this difficult. This is disrespectful to me or whatever. Or maybe you say, you know what? I just want to leave this place. I'm going to just withdraw my petition for a thing because you know what? I don't even want to do this work anyway. I'm really tired of this type of work. So something could be, you could be like rethinking something. You could be having, in some cases, this could be some misunderstanding with a coworker, and or you stop talking to a coworker. This house also has had Chiron here. So for Scorpio people, because Scorpio people are people with prominent Pluto, Scorpio elements, 8th house elements. Because I have the sun in the 8th house as a Sag, and in Vedic astrology, I'm a 29-degree Scorpio. So I'm beginning to accept this about myself, but I notice that sometimes you might be getting along with someone and then all of a sudden they're cold to you. And it can really be wounding, especially if you grew up with kind of inconsistent nurturing or something along those lines. So there might be something, because Scorpio, there's always the undercurrent, the emotional undercurrent in your life, within yourself and sensing it within other people. And this can be exhausting at times, and certainly it can even be disheartening, because you may feel like no matter what happens, there's always this time when people turn against you and things like that. So I don't know. Remember that Mercury is a very fast moving placement, and that can mean that you are going to resolve this before it gets too far. So if something does, I'm recording this weeks before April. So if you listen before then, just, keep that in mind, that if you stay above the fray, if you decide not to, gossip about people or do anything that would promote disharmony in the workplace, maybe that will lessen the chances of anything like that happening. And doesn't that make perfect sense, that if we behave in an honorable manner, that we're more likely to attract positive things to us than if we're, doing things we know we shouldn't be doing. And okay, so on the 4th, Venus goes into Aries. And so Venus goes into this house. This is very good, because not only can it mean maybe your negotiations, maybe you kind of walk away from negotiations and they have, that softens them and they give you a raise. Venus can be money, and this is the workplace. Something could feel harmonious in the workplace. Love in the workplace, 6th house. Sprucing up your office, painting it or what have you, 6th house. On the 8th, solar eclipse, 19 degrees of Aries. There you go again. This can boost the potential for you to, opportunity-wise. Maybe you don't have to rely on just one particular job. You have a lot of options, and that's always a good thing. This can just be about what you do in particular. I mean, I said that you have Chiron in the 6th house. What this can mean is that you become a healer at some point during this transit. I believe Chiron is going to be here a few more years, until 2027. So that can be, and now I'm telling you, if there's a sign that is associated with being a healer, I can't think of one more than Scorpio. So, because you love the concept of transformation. So if you're doing it for yourself or if you're doing it for somebody else, I mean, even like a personal trainer, that would be something that you would just relish, this idea of turning one thing into another in a newer, improved version. On the 19th, the sun goes into Taurus, the opposite house from the house that you occupy, the 1st house. So this means that relationship energy is front and center. And it's very interesting, because when I was talking about Venus going into that workplace, that may, if you do have some kind of romantic interest with somebody and yet you're coupled, that could pose quite a dilemma. And on the 20th, the day after the sun goes into Taurus, we have a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in that 7th house at 21 degrees of Taurus. This can be, to me, a love at first sight thing. Even though the 5th house technically is love and the 7th house is commitment, the commitment phase, I do feel that when Jupiter, even by itself, is in the 7th house, it gives more possibilities of serious relationships coming into your life. You may have found, if you have been single for a while, Scorpio, that sometimes it's almost like a drought where you meet people and you realize there's no way this is going anywhere. And it seems like that continues for weeks or months at a time. And then all of a sudden, you might meet some people that have potential in your eyes. So this could be one of those times, but it's that instantaneous thing because Uranus can be out of the blue, something that is unexpected. And Jupiter is good fortune, but this is in the house of relationships. So you might so-called randomly meet someone, and that person turns out to be your soulmate, for instance. And both of these planets are associated with intuition or with Jupiter with prophecy. So that idea of recognizing them, I mean, people do that. People meet somebody for the first time and they say, I'm going to marry that girl. I'm going to, this person is going to be the one that I'm with. Maybe it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen sometimes. So keep that in mind. If you're already coupled, this is also the house of public relations. So this could be like a lucky break that you get. And you might not even be doing anything that is connected to show business, where that is where we typically use that term. It might be some video that you put out that you didn't really think anything of, and all of a sudden it created a stir, and you can build a business off of that or something, So just keep that in mind on the 20th. On the 23rd, we have a full moon in your sign, 4 degrees of Scorpio. This year, it's at an earlier degree than last year. It was in May and it was a lunar eclipse. This year, it's like a garden variety full moon in that house of the self. But, truth be told, many of you may have this in the 12th house. And if you do, both of these houses, it can manifest in similar ways. The only difference is that in the 12th house, you're letting go of things that are internalized within within yourself. I know that's redundant. And so it could be addictions. It could be negative behaviors that work against you, that are tripping you up in life. The full moon is a time of release, but also of awareness of what is going on. The first house can be things happening that are endings that that happen to be going on at this time, and that you have to kind of accept, because maybe it's something that you really are holding on to, because Scorpio is a fixed water sign. Your emotions are very resolute. You could call them downright stubborn. Even if you have a horrendous marriage to someone, you may find it hard to be the one to file for divorce, because there's a part of you that wants to keep the status quo going. You want continuity in life above all else, above being thrown into disarray by some sort of relationship that is, not quite what it should be. On the 25th, Mercury goes direct at 16 degrees of Aries in the 6th house. And this is when things start to settle down in workplace matters. As Mercury comes out of its shadow, then things can go back to normal, and, any kind of issue can be resolved. On the 29th, Venus goes into Taurus, into that 7th house, and that can be great for relationships. I mean, Also, there's some kind of connection with money for some people because Venus and Jupiter can both be about money, maybe through a lawsuit because that's seventh house. But with the Uranian conjunction to Jupiter, if you have a business where you have clients, this may just take off like a rocket. And you could be, when the conjunction happens, where you get a lot more clients. Seventh house can be one-on-one, relationships of that sort. And that can be something where you are, by the end of the month, you're profiting from that. On the 30th, Mars goes into Aries. Mars goes into sixth house. So, when we talk about Mars and Venus and Mercury retrograde and what's happening when they each go into this area and like, what does that mean? It's like life itself. We do not have like this, static or just set thing where nothing happens. There's always things that are happening. Mars can be more of a feisty energy. It can be a situation where there is some conflict in the workplace. Conflict is a part of life. You may put out one fire only to see that there's another one springing up because let's say you get a promotion or you get a raise and then somebody finds out about it. Venus in the sixth house can be you getting a raise. Mars in the sixth house can be maybe a coworker being pissed about that, finding out and being pissed. Mars is one of your rulers. So I think a lot of Scorpios just kind of throw up their hands and say, it is what it is. I have to just keep plugging away. And that's where spiritual teachings can be very helpful because you can realize that even if the outer world has its ups and downs, you can stay on an even keel. All right, that's what I have for you, Scorpio. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I have my double readings called deep dive readings, perfect for Scorpios because, like I said, I got some street cred as a Scorpio, and now everything is making sense. I don't really like Vedic astrology for other reasons, but I have a feeling that this may be kind of accurate because just based on, how things have occurred in my life and my relationships to other people and just my emotional nature. I always have thought I was more emotional than my Western astrology made me out to be, and I couldn't figure out why. And, but anyway, whatever. The point is that I get Scorpios. And, I just had somebody yell at me online because, they said, you said that Scorpios are the most loving sign. And I don't believe that I said it like that because I'm not the kind of person to hold one sign up over every other sign. And I tend to be kind of critical of Scorpios sometimes. But anyway, I said, what do you want me to say? That they're stalkers? That they're all stalkers? The people are tuning in for their own sign. You want me to say something insulting to them about their own sign? But I probably didn't say it, but this person went on and on about how they were, they've been brutalized or emotionally abused by Scorpios. And, I don't doubt that has happened, but certainly that can be true for any sign in their own way. And so, but I stand up for you guys. I'm not going to throw you under the bus, that's for sure. So anyway, just click on the link below. You can find out more information about my readings. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.